Hi, I'm Al, and in this installment of Summit Racing Quick Flicks, we're going to continue on with Paint Month and talk about automotive paint guns. When you're doing the research for which paint gun is right for you, you're going to find out that there's a lot of different options out there. Here at Summit Racing, we offer the high volume, low pressure system, or HVLP type paint gun system, mostly because it's more efficient, as well as the EPA thinks it's better for the environment. Now, when you're doing your research, you're going to find out that there's a couple different styles of paint guns out there. First style we're going to talk about is the siphon style paint gun. The reason they call it a siphon style paint gun is that air comes in from the bottom of the gun, comes across this tube here, and the tube ends up drawing paint out of this canister. Now, because this canister is so large, it can hold a lot of paint. However, it tends to make this style paint gun a little more bulky and difficult to move around a car. But usually these style paint guns come with larger tips, which is great for spraying stuff like primer. In comparison, we have the gravity style paint gun here. Now, the reason they call it the gravity style paint gun is because you put paint up in this canister, gravity pulls it down towards the gun, and air rushes in through the gun and grabs a little bit of paint, sprays it on your vehicle. Now, these guns tend to be a little more maneuverable, so it's easier to maneuver around a car, around door jams and things like that. However, they tend to be a little more expensive than a siphon style gun, but they are more efficient in the use of air because they don't have to draw paint out of a canister. Now, in your research, you're going to come across a lot of conversations about tip sizes. And you're going to wonder, what does all that mean for me? Well, when you're buying a gun, you're going to want to try to buy one gun that's going to serve either a lot of purposes, or you're going to buy quite a few guns that serve individual purposes. Now, we have a kit here that has 3 guns, and it has 3 different size tips on them. Like this gun here has a 1mm tip, while this one has a 1.4, and this one has a 1.6mm tip. Now, what do all those different sizes mean? Well, we generally recommend that when you're spraying a primer, you use a 1.4 to 1.6mm tip. When you're spraying your base coat, you use a 1.3 to 1.4mm tip. And then when you're spraying your clear coat, you use a 1.2 to 1.4mm tip. The reason is because of the different consistencies in paint. You don't want too much or too little paint flowing out of your paint gun. One way to control some of that is through adjusting the needle when you're painting. What you're going to do is you're going to find a test piece, and as you're testing, you're going to adjust a screw like this on the back of your paint gun to find the perfect amount of flow of paint coming out of your paint gun. Another thing you can do to control the flow of paint or the direction of paint is adjust the air and the spray pattern. And usually paint guns have another screw to do that. Now, when you're talking about the air and the flow, you want to make sure that you're using your paint's recommended air pressure. So adding an air pressure regulator to the bottom of your paint gun is always a recommended thing. The last little thing here I have is a canister. Now, these canisters, they come in both plastic and metal, and you can add them to the top of your paint gun, and they also offer features such as filters in them. So that way you can filter out any larger material, so that way it doesn't clog up your paint gun. Speaking of clogging up your paint gun, this is probably the most important thing I can talk to you about is a cleaning kit. Now, think about painting. You don't want debris or water or any other things in your paint job. So you want to make sure you have a nice clean paint gun before and after you've done your paint work. So when you grab something like this paint cleaning kit, you're going to make sure that you have a nice long-lasting paint gun, so that way you can use it through multiple projects. One last little bit of advice I have for you guys is to make sure that you look at your paint manufacturer's recommended settings in terms of tip sizes as well as air pressure. Now, if you have any other questions about paint guns, paint, or any automotive related questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Remember to hit subscribe to stay up to date on our latest Quick Flicks videos, and watch our other videos. Thanks for watching.